Let's first start in Canvas, and we'll go down to our Project 2 Career Aspirations database. Let's click on it. You'll notice there are two parts. We've got one, Job Research, and part 2, Current Finances, Expenses, Income, Debt, and Work. And so let's look over what we need to do with this first sheet, Job Research. We're going to locate 7 job postings that interest you. We're going to be entering various data points for each one. We're going to create it as Sheet 2 within our database, whereas Sheet 1 is actually part 2, so they're flipped. Sheet 2, or Job Research, is a lot simpler than our second part, so we'll do that one first. What we need to enter is the jobs, job title, the employer, the address, annual salary, drop-downs for part-time or full or over, remote or in-office, shift, highest degree required, and years experience required, with a quick note to make sure that at least 4 levels of degree type are required in this sheet, which would be high school, associates, bachelor's, and master's. So if we click on our Windows search here, we can type in Excel, made by Microsoft. Go ahead and click on it. We've already got our sheet 1 defined, so we can go ahead and hit that bottom left plus sign to get to sheet 2, and we right click on that. Let's go ahead and rename it. We'll call it Job Research and hit enter. I always like to go in on the zoom here, maybe 130, 140, depending on the bottom right here. Makes it easier to use. One of the first things I like to do is define our headers. We'll make these bold just by selecting one, or first row, our header row. Do my lucky number 13. And we can go ahead and start filling these out. So we've got job. We've got, well, that would be job number, right? And we've got job title, employer, see if I can remember all these without looking, address, salary, oops. Well, what we can do to make this easier is, if you look at your keyboard and you're on a Windows machine, hold the Windows key and hit right click. And then over here you can click left, and now we've got 2 half windows in Windows. We've got our Excel file on the right, half screened, and we've got our browser showing the Project 2 rules and instructions. So let's make sure we follow this here. We've got our employer, job title, address, salary. Let's keep going. After salary, we've got drop down. So we're going to say time, location, which would be work location, not job location. Like location being home, office, or both. Shift, degree, and years experience. I'm going to type it as years EXP. Okay, so we don't need this as much anymore. So let me pull this bar over. Still have our instructions, and we still have our Excel file. Notice that sometimes things get cut off, like employee's been cut off here. And if you look between fields C and D, we can double click that line. We can do the same thing for location, and it fits to text. And go ahead and just say we're going to do 7 jobs. All right. Now here's where we need to define things. A job title is just going to be a simple text data point. So is employer name, address. But when we get to these other ones, we're going to define those data types. So we can go ahead and just select B through D by clicking B, holding until D. So we've got B, C, and D fields or columns selected. We can just say these are short date. Nope, we're going to do general, no specific format. When we get here to salary, we're going to make this one $, and then we're going to take away 2 zeros. We don't need to do cents when we say our salary amount. Now we have our drop downs. In order to do a drop down in Excel, we want to go to our first set of drop downs and select the cells that are going to be drop downs. Up here in our ribbon, we want to click on data. And then over here, we want to hover until we see these check and non-check data validation. So click on data validation. We're going to have a list of options here. We're going to do these comma separated. So we've got PT for part-time, FT for full-time, OT for overtime, which would be over 40 hours. Now look, If we click on any of these cells now under time, we have a nice drop down of 3 options. We do the same thing with location. Again, highlight the cells you're using, go up to data in the ribbon, data validation. Again, we're doing a list, and for this one, we're doing location, which would be hybrid as one choice. Oh, my bad. Remote as one choice, hybrid as second choice, and in office as third. Go ahead and hit OK. Let's double check our work. We've got 3 options: remote, hybrid, and in office. For shift, we're going to have 4 choices. These should be familiar to you. Again, data validation, select list, we'll do comma separated, and we're going to say first, comma, second, comma, third, comma, and variable. Remember, first, oops, I switched some letters here. First, always double check what you type. First would be from 8 to 5, 9 to 5, depending on how you look at it. Second would be from 5 to 11 or 6 to 1, depending on how you look at it again. And third, of course, would be from midnight or 1 all the way to 8 or 9 a.m. Let's double check our work under shift. Looking good. And finally, let's do our drop down for degree type. And that's degree required. Go back up to data validation. Again, we're doing a list. And for this one, we're going to start with HS, AS, but let's do AA, and BA, and MA, and finally, terminal. Now, what does terminal mean? A terminal degree is a degree that you stop at. And for many people, that's just a PhD or a Doctor of Philosophy. It could be an education doctorate. It could be a law degree, and it could be an MD. It could be many. Those are called terminal. So we've got HS for high school, AA for minimum associate in arts, bachelor's in arts, master's in arts, and then we got terminal. Say okay. I'll double check our work one more time. Look at that, it's working out well. And finally, we have years of experience. Double click here to make that go out some. And what we can find with years experience is, well, what kind of data is that? Go back to home in the ribbon, and it's just a number. Oops, I should probably select it. Go ahead, select that field or that column, change it from general to a number. And of course, that should be a whole number for years experience. So I'm just going to actually list out some job titles that make a lot of sense for where we are in this course together. So since we started with web, we'll start there. You could be a web coordinator, web designer, more front end, web developer. You could be a web analyst. You could be a photographer. Likewise, you can be a videographer. Oops. Videographer. You can be a web manager. Be a graphic designer in web. You can be a UI, UX designer. Now for our second area, which would be database management, we're going to say database analyst, database manager, database project manager, which would require a little bit more experience there. And finally, could also be a database coordinator. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is a great list to start off with our first 2 areas under CTI 110. And again, you see how these jobs kind of get outside of their column B. We'll click the vertical line between columns B and C, double click it, and now it's fitting to the longest one, database project manager, as a name. So everything else you need to enter in as you search for these jobs. It's best to search via Google, and you've got great options like Glassdoor, which typically has all of these information. Now, as I've said before, if you ask the question of data, let's say, what is the address of one of these jobs you find, and you can't find it? Well, you have several ways to say null. And again, remember, Inaction is action. The lack of an answer can still be an answer. And the important part here is you have asked all the questions of your data. When you don't have an answer to the question, but the answer is that there is no answer, you type null. Or you can type NA, or you can type 0, or you can type a hyphen. It's up to you how you want to say, I asked the question and there is no answer, but at least I asked it. So pick one of these three or even a different one that is working for you. Go ahead and fill these out and then we'll get to part 2.